Today we're talking Daryl Dixon, Season 3, Episode 5. Welcome to Screens in Focus, the podcast where we talk about TV and movies. I'm Diana. Renee is here. Hi, Renee. How are you?
I'm very excited to talk about this episode. How are you?
I'm doing really great. Thank you. All right. We're going to start off with our question of the day.
Mm-hmm.
So that is, of course, it's all inspired by this episode. You're stranded in an apocalypse desert. What's the one thing you can't live without? Water, wheels, or a hot dog? All right. So think about that, Renee, and all of you think about that because we're going to answer it later on. We did get a listener call or leave us a message on our question of the day from last week, which was, what is the coolest weapon in that episode? And we had our answers, and they picked the Gatling gun because they've played the BioShock Infinite game, and they're able to use that weapon, and they really felt the power of it. And I thought that was really cool because I think it was Fede that used the gun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So I remembered, and then I forgot about that gun, and I thought that was a really cool weapon. I love that. So we appreciate our caller leaving that message for us. They also do think that Justina is related, and that's why they don't want her and Roberto to be together. So we'll see. They talked about some things during this episode, but we'll have to see where that leads. And then they loved the connection between Dead City and Daryl Dixon with the walkers used as weapons, which you had brought up last week, Renee, how you loved that, how they utilize the walkers as weapons. So that was pretty cool. So thank you again, caller, for calling us. And we hope they will continue to call us, and also all of you out there. All of our contact is in the show notes. All right. So in this episode, Daryl is riding solo through that desert. He's taking on walkers and buzzards while helping a group on the edge of survival. And of course, Carol's back at Solaz del Mar and uncovering secrets and maybe catching some feelings. I'm going to get your take on that, Renee. But first, I would love to know, what were the highlights for you this episode, or were there some important beats that you saw?
So I think this is the best episode of Daryl Dixon so far. I thought it was so good. I saw both negative and positive online, but I'll talk about that more later. But I just feel like this episode had everything. It had action and romance and intrigue, and there was so much heart in it, with just different things that we watched. But solo Daryl and a train scene, I've been waiting for those. I've talked about like every episode that we have been covering this. Finally, they both were in the same episode, so I was so excited about that. We got that promised Western feel that they kept telling us about. It was, chaotic, and it was, I don't know, it was just, it had, some really fun elements that were indicative of like the spaghetti westerns they keep talking about. And one of the specific elements I really liked was the little girl counting down Daryl's kills. I was like, because that, that kind of thing, it's always like that guy comes to town, he has to help the town. And then there's always like, I feel like there's always a little kid kind of doing something, and so that little girl counting, that was so perfect. So I guess overall, I mean, I've got a couple more points, but the main one's Daryl. I was just so happy to see all this action with him, all these people that he met, and just how he handled all these different experiences, because he had a lot going on in this episode.
I feel it. I feel you. And I had that also down about the spaghetti Western. So many aspects of it. The scenery, the train, the community that we met, the little girl counting down. I had that in my notes also. The desert, not having something to drink and just walking the way Daryl was in that desert, like, oh my gosh, on his last legs, and coming in contact with someone else that's out there, and the buzzards and just everything, the reptiles. There was so much. So yes, a highlight for me was also this whole Daryl Dixon concentrated portion. I loved everything else too, but that really was the highlight, watching all of that with him. I felt like it was a little bit of I guess a departure from what we've seen, but it was on my part, it was very welcome. Like, I'm like, I love this. It's like he has his own excursion, I guess, if that's how you want to portray it, but excursion that is happening. And then, of course, he'll come back together with Carol, hopefully in the next episode, because I do love seeing them both together. But if we're not going to see them both together, then this is how I want to see Daryl Dixon. So,
yeah. I enjoyed Carol opening her heart to Antonio. You know, she's just very, and I'm like curious, is he going to do the same? We'll see what happens. So I just loved those. I mean, like you said, I love the whole episode, but I loved seeing Carol kind of, I don't know, just kind of open her heart a little,
Yeah. It's funny. We know it's going to happen with the trailers and the previews and everything. It kept saying this was going to happen. This was going to happen. And we kept wondering, is it going to happen? Because it hasn't happened yet. It's taken forever. And I'm accepting of it, but somehow something in me, I'm like a little bit like hesitant. And I don't know why. I like him. And if this is what she wants, I want it for her. But when he held her hand, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know how I felt about it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just protective of our people somehow. And also she asks him, and I don't mean to be talking about all this now, but it's just kind of spilling out. But she asks him about going to Ohio, and he's not sure. So then I'm like, well, what's going to happen between these two? So, all right, I'm just going to put that out there. We can talk about that more in the deep dive, but I just have all these feelings coming out as you said that. So I agree with you with when you said this episode had so much balance, because we do have these character connections, and we do have suspense, and we do have battles and action and the adventure and this bit of romance that's happening here. So.
And another thing, Fede, I'm just very intrigued by him, and I feel like something big is it's building here. And I wonder, is he worried that his secret's going to be revealed, and what that will do to his leadership? What are they going to think if their leader has been doing it, and what it's going to do to the whole dynamics of this community? So I'm watching him closely for any kind of clues, and I can't find anything yet. So I'm excited to see where his storyline goes.
I was so intrigued by that whole storyline, and I'm going to ask you right now what you think, because when I was watching it, I was a bit confused. It wasn't until I watched it the second time, came away thinking about it, realized what had happened, because I kept saying, what are they talking about? Why are they making it like they don't know that Fede took out those ribbons? And afterwards I gathered was that Justina didn't volunteer at all. She didn't give herself up at all. Fede just said, here, take her, right? And I didn't realize that. Like, they didn't actually say the words. They just alluded to it. So I wasn't understanding that part of it. And so in my mind, that was a big reveal, like later on. Like, it took me a while to catch up with that. But
yeah, Carol even says something about I talked to her. I feel like this is my fault. And Carol kept kind of telling and then I was like, wait a minute. I don't think that's how it happened at all. I think I agree. I think he just, let him take her or whatever. Yeah. So I mean, that's what I think.
Yeah. Because they kept saying, we don't, you don't, I don't know if it was this episode or the previous, but it's basically like, are you threatening me, like, to expose you for what you did? So we know he did something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that at first I'm like, wait, I don't know what he did wrong, because I was still under the impression that she volunteered. And it wasn't until later on that I realized, oh, wait, she didn't volunteer. Because I guess Carol had put it together when Roberto had said again, like they took her again. And she's all, wait, what do you mean again? They took her again. And it was because she didn't go willingly the first time, and she didn't go willingly the second time. So, and it makes sense, because now that was the purpose of why they even took Roberto. Because they kept saying, well, why would they have him crash and then take him again, unless it was to expose something, which, okay, this was it. This was what we had to learn. And that was the reason for it. So, which is pretty smart, but you had to really pay attention to what was going on.
It was very hard to catch on to it. Yeah.
Right. And Also, I have been trying to pay attention to every conversation that Fede and Antonio have because I'm waiting for that bit of
Yeah.
like they are giving us something, but it's not enough to put it all together yet.
Yeah.
So what's interesting though is that Antonio is not divulging. And I'm sure he has something to lose, and that's why he's not divulging whatever it is, because otherwise he would tell, Carol or somebody that he trusts how he's feeling or why he feels it. And you could tell he's still holding back, and it's because something is to be revealed that we don't know yet.
Yeah.
So, can't wait. All right. Carol and Daryl, let's do our deep dive. Tell me what struck you in this episode.
Well, I'm loving all the, everything that's going on at Solaz del Mar, where they're like keeping quiet about who did the attack and everything. And I love that they have paths to that, he's like, nope, we can trust her because they need somebody, another strong person to, if something happens, because it could come to where, these three could be taking somebody on. And so they need to make sure they have all their allies they can to do whatever needs to be done. So yeah, so I just like, I just, it's very interesting. I love how they're just being very quiet and they're trying to see, and they, they even Betty is questioning it because they said to him about the bandoleros. He goes, they would have killed him, and it's like, oh yeah, we must have just caught him. I don't, or whatever they say to, blow it off. But yeah, that's why he's questioning things. That's why he sent his henchman guy to go look for Daryl, because he does not believe that story, that he's at the boat, why would he stay the night at the boat, and yeah, so they're, everyone's like trying to figure everybody else out, I guess, at this point. But that part to me is very, it's a lot of fun. And I love, we got Daryl over here doing all this crazy, wild stuff. But then Carol, her little side quest here is more quiet, more subdued, but she's still doing her Carol stuff and paying attention and all that. So yeah, I'm just excited to see what happens.
I really enjoyed seeing, I guess it enjoyed because it was tough, but I enjoyed it too, because Carol and Daryl sort of they're kind of like irritated a little bit with each other. And the reason I do like to see that is because that's real life.
Yes.
People that love each other get irritated with each other sometimes. And so when he says, "Oh, you should go back with them because like we need a good liar." It's like, did he have to use that term? But he did. And she just kind of looks at him. And then when she says, "Well, I'm going to do this," and he's all, "Oh no, basically you can't do that." And she's all, "You can't tell me what to do. I'm going to do what I want to do." I'm like, oh my goodness, you go, Carol. But I do love that Carol is so independent. She's so strong-willed, making decisions for herself. I love seeing her like that. But yet she can be very nurturing and very caring. And it's because she cares about these people. She's like, we can't just walk away. We can't just care about ourselves. They've put themselves on the line, and now we have to help them. So, and with Daryl even having his standpoint too, he still can't help but take care of Carol. Like she says, "Oh, I'll go with you." He's all, "No, you're not well enough. You still, you need to be 100%, and I need to do this on my own," which totally made sense because he's still going to care for her the best way that he can, even though he keeps following her because he doesn't want them to be apart again. I mean, yeah, for little excursions and different parts that they have to both handle, but not, they're both going home together.
Yeah.
for the hot dogs. Don't forget the hot dog. I love when he gave her that look too, when he said that to her. Oh, that was such a cool, sweet moment.
I do notice that, I think she's still done a lot of her Carol things, but she is in a different place, a different mindset than what we normally see Carol in. And I think a lot of fans have been disappointed in that because they want to see Daryl and Carol together. What was the point of having her travel all the way and having them reunite if we're not going to see them together? But I feel it's just more character building for both of them because Carol's in a very different place now. After, so like just my main example for that was before she had everything happen in the shuttle, Daryl told her to get on that plane and go back to the States. She didn't listen. There she pops up and the plane's taking off and she's like, hey, I'm here. And so,
Yeah.
but now when he did tell her, there was more going on, but he did, when he told her that about being 100% and I need you, and all that, she listened to him because she was like, oh yeah, okay, that's a good idea. But for Carol, before the tunnel, she would have been like, whatever, I'm going.
Yeah.
She would have just gone, and so it's fun to just see this other side of Carol that we haven't seen before. She's, I don't know, she's just very different and I like it. I really like it.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, she hasn't really gotten soft or anything like that because she can still fight. She
No.
can still do these things. It's just something has just really, really changed in her. And I think it'll be for the better because she'll think first. Like a lot of times she acts before she thinks about things, which most of the time it turned out good because there were things that needed to be done. Nobody else had the courage to do them. So Carol would just go and I'm just doing it myself. So anyway, I'm enjoying this different Carol that we're seeing. She's still there, but there's just some there's pieces of her that are different. To me, it's very interesting because, we've seen Carol for how many years now. And so it's just kind of fun to see another side of Carol than what we've seen.
What are people complaining about?
Well, I mean, mostly the not having Daryl and Carol together. They're like, what's the point? Whatever. But it's not. I mean, they're together. It's just they both have things they have to take care of, And so a lot of people they just don't understand. And I read a lot of things that said that this was a filler episode, and I didn't get that. I was trying to make heads or tails of what that meant because I was like, there was a lot that went on in this episode. Everybody looks at things differently. It just depends on how you're looking at it, like I'm a Daryl fan. So of course I'm excited when Daryl's got the spotlight, mostly it's just that they just feel like what was the point of bringing them together if we're going to send them off on different quests and different, whatever.
But it's only for a portion of the time. Like I'm great with it because it's not like now if they were separated again, like in different countries,
didn't know where they were. Yeah.
Yeah, or whatever it was, then that would bother me because, then it would be like, well, why are you doing this? But just these moments when he has to go complete a mission and she has to go complete her mission, they're using their strengths. And it's highlighting their individuality and their agency and their perspective. So, and I think it's helping them both to grow. And we learn more about those characters too, because like you said, you're learning more about Carol. She's still the same. I mean, we know she can put up a front still. We know she can shoot. She did that last defend herself and other people. They fought next to each other last episode. So it is giving us what we want. Maybe people just want to complain. I don't know.
I think so. I think a lot of times that's what it is,
Because I think it's great. Also, she's being exposed to social aspects, which Daryl doesn't like. He doesn't care one bit. And if we want to see it, then we need to see it through Carol's lens because she does appreciate or will pay attention to just like the cultural dynamics with the concoctions, the medicinal concoctions they were making and how she says, oh, like a witch, and Antonio's all, no. Oh yeah. So yeah. And so I like seeing that. I like seeing that about their, what they have done, how they survive, things that they rely upon that they used to use through generations. I love seeing all that. Just like when you and I talked about Dark Winds and all of that.
Yeah.
What that entailed. And I love that stuff. So the fact that they brought it up here is great. And Daryl would be like, I'm out of here. I don't want to hear about or know about this or care about this.
Yeah.
I'm doing my own thing. But at the same time, Daryl is learning through these other people. I'm like, wait, do they have leprosy? That was my first thought. When we first were introduced to the few of them, and then we realized it was a community. And what did you think about this with Daryl?
Yeah, this was, I feel like, this, we're still like seeing Daryl with these little flashbacks or different things are going on from his childhood. So I felt like this was kind of reflective of his upbringing, not the same way, but that I'm sure the Dixon family was like kind of off to the, like, you guys just, they're set apart from everybody else. because those Dixons, I'm sure, were bad news, that kind of
Yep.
thing.
Mhm.
And no one ever stepped up to help him as a child. He went through all that stuff, and there
Mhm.
was no one there to step up for him. So he made sure he stood up for them. He's like, well, I'm doing this because I know it's the right thing to do. And, here I am helping more people. But at the same time, the children that were there, that's what made him. He saw that little
Yeah.
girl, I told Rosa, I think her name was, she was watching him. He heard the baby crying. He heard, and he's just like, yep, I got, I'm sure there was times during his childhood when he went without, and so he
Yep.
knows that feeling, and he knows maybe not necessarily water, but it was, I'm sure, food or something, and so, and I'm also sure that those children made him think about Judith and RJ and Gracie and everybody, all those other
Exactly.
kids that he's
Yeah.
taking care of, and, Uncle Daryl and all that kind of stuff. So I love this whole thing, just adding this piece to it. I think it was a very interesting. I loved how he embraced them. He
Mhm.
talked, luckily there was one English speaking person for him to, I mean, he was muddling through as best he could, and everything. But yeah, I thought it was a really very interesting way to just make things different, which is what we're wanting in these spinoffs. I don't want to see The Walking Dead. I love The Walking Dead, but I don't want to watch it again. I'll go
Right.
watch that series. I want
Right.
something different, and adding these
Yeah.
things in, Dead City's doing it as well. And it's just fun to see people's, just their minds expand this universe and make it more interesting. And I loved all that. So I just thought the whole introduction to this group and Daryl's interaction with them, I just thought was fabulous.
Yeah. I couldn't agree with you more. I had all those same feelings when he was reflecting or having that flashback to
Hmm.
his childhood. It was when he was there on his own with no bike and he's just, sitting there and he has that. And of course, that is important because then we see him meet this group. And just like you said, because he can relate. He was an outsider too. He was underestimated. He was looked upon as not being, I don't know where he grew up, but he felt that way. Him, his brother, his family. That's how they were looked upon, not equals, not worthy,
Hmm.
not all of that. So, yes, this is his how he relates to these people. He understands. And like you said, they've gone without and he has gone without. So it totally makes sense. And of course, with the kids. And I knew when I saw that, I'm like, oh my God,
Yep.
he's probably thinking of Judith
Yep.
and Laurent too. But really, I don't know. It
Mhm.
made me think of Judith also.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
my thought when
Hmm.
he saw her. So yeah, I loved seeing this about him. And I loved seeing that it was more than what was just the action that we saw. We knew it was something deeper. And that his empathy drives so much of this episode.
Hmm.
And him, like you said, him not wanting to get involved, he just wants to mind his own business, not help anybody, but he can't help it. He
He
can't
just
help
can't.
it
Nope.
because
Yeah. He's
it's
just a good
there.
guy, and that's what he does. Yeah.
Yeah.
But on the other side of it, I loved all the action. That was so much fun. There was so much fun in this, watching him, these different weapons, and they're doing their like jousting, but they're on motorbikes with guns or whatever. It was just so much fun and a little absurd, maybe. Sure, I don't know. I'm fine with it. I mean, a lot of times those westerns, they would throw some of the like absurd things in there, and so yeah, I really enjoyed all these bandoliers or whatever it was. The whole just that whole thing was just so much
Yeah.
fun, and the action and just getting to see Daryl do his thing is always it's always a good thing.
Yeah. What themes did you see in this episode?
Well, I really focus a lot on that inner turmoil within Daryl because
Yeah.
he's just he's doing good things, he's helping people, but he's got something brewing, and it's gonna. I hope that this is gonna be addressed before the end of the season. That we're gonna see why all of a sudden did this all start coming up? What triggered this in him? Because
Yeah.
we don't really have it just start happening. It's all just so quick and pieced together that it's like I think this time we only heard voices, didn't we? Did we even see a clip this time of his
For
for the kind of his childhood? I don't know that there was.
Oh, there was voices, and right now I can't remember what it
Yeah, but I meant,
said.
like, this time it was just the voices.
Oh.
Before, we were getting little clips of it.
Oh.
This time, like, it was even less, revealing because it was just voices I don't even know for sure. I probably heard it the first time, but I don't remember what they said. So we just know that this is.
Was it Get Out? Was it
Yeah,
like
maybe that's
Get
what.
Out or something like
Yeah.
that?
Yes, it was Get Out, and then some. Yeah, and I felt like there was another like hushed thing. I forgot to go back and listen again, but yes, it was something about getting out. So we're seeing all this, and it just really has me just really watching him again. Just trying to figure out what where's this leading, because obviously they're not just gonna throw that in there for nothing. So yeah, that'll be interesting. And then we saw the themes of spaghetti westerns and the Spanish history. I thought it was so great. We got this, these westerns, and you got all the, um, just all that went with that. I think you mentioned the kind of Mad Max kind of feel.
Oh, yeah.
Um, I saw other
Yeah.
people, they talked about the man with no, without a name or whatever, man with no name, just all those different westerns. But then we also got to see actual Spanish ruins. I mean, that were those where the community that were affected with the leprosy, that was like that's an actual standing historical ruin from the Spanish Civil War. And it was just, I mean, when Daryl was looking up through this, like they showed that picture and he was
Yeah.
laying there. And the episode insider at the end of the episode showed more pictures of it from they had the drones up and things like that. And it was just breathtaking, like this crumbled thing, but it was still just beautiful. And so and then I was thinking about, I was like, wait a minute, there was a Spanish flu. And I was like, what exactly was that? So I looked it up. And I
Yeah.
wondered, like, the leprosy kind of thing. Oh, there was this that happened too, because it was I think it was like 50 million people that died from that, and it was like in the
Oh my
early
God.
1900s. I think it was like
Yeah.
1918, somewhere in there. And yeah, it affected way more people, but I think it was 50 million that died from it. So, anyways, all these historical things embedded in that too, that were just kind of it was really neat. So those were the two big themes that kind of resonated with me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and we already touched upon what we both had felt was the outsider perspective.
Yeah.
I thought that was a definitely a theme that was in this, and empathy, because we see it with different people, even at the community where Carol is at and what she is showing. And of course, survival, everybody's trying to survive. Also, I do want to say empathy of the group that brought in Daryl. I thought that they were very accepting and very trusting for not knowing who he is or what he does. Like what made them decide to trust him? Like that was a lot. I kept saying, why are they so trusting of him? I can't believe it. But they did. They believed in him, and sometimes that's all it takes for someone to believe in you, and then all of a sudden you can believe in yourself. And I think that happened with Daryl, right? Because if they were apprehensive, then he would have been apprehensive. But he's like, these people are very vulnerable. I could take advantage of them, but I can't. I can't do that. Not to these type of people. I can't do that. So I just feel like, Daryl's dealing with so much of the moral complexity here in this apocalypse. And it allows him, everything that he's experiencing is allowing him to connect with this limbo community at a human level. So that is what I saw. Also, you brought up to the cinematography, and being a spaghetti western, you have that dusty desert landscape, which is so good and so different than what we've seen, because it's such a contrast to us seeing last week the beaches and the community and celebration a couple episodes ago. So we see such a different aspect, which, can you believe that this is Daryl Dixon? Like, this is in the Walking Dead universe that we get to experience, so much of this country, different countries, and all of these beauties and harshness that we see. So it's just, this series is just really, I love it so much. I just think it's it's going in the best direction that it can, exposing us to all of that. So I'm loving it. Oh, one other theme, I guess, that I want to bring up is that the exploration of human priorities, because I believe the group on the train, they were the buzzards, right? I think that was the term for them. But that leader there had an obsession for Lola. And at first you think Lola could be the girl, but you're like, no, I don't think so. It's what's that reptile called? Do you remember? Do you know what kind that is?
Is it an iguana?
Iguana, I believe
Yes.
so. I believe so. Anyway, so Lola is the iguana, that reptile that he has, and he's feeding it eyeballs. Okay? And we saw that guy with no eyeballs that Daryl ran into. So here they take a human, they take their eyeballs because he wants to feed Lola. You take water from a community because you want it. So he has no regard
Oh, yeah.
for other humans, but his Lola better get some water and some food, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, how warped is that? So
Yeah.
it was pretty interesting to see, that stance also.
Mhm. At first, I thought maybe he had a walker, a pet walker. Is it at first that's just because of, we've seen it before, where they're feeding, these walkers. And so I
Yeah.
thought, oh, does he have like somebody? For a second, that's what I thought.
Well, I kept trying to think, what's in that tank? What's in that tank?
Yeah.
Then later on, they show what's in the tank. I'm like, oh, okay. And then at the end, we see Lola survives, which
I
was
love that.
very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool for you. Go, Lola.
Yeah. Go out in your natural habitat. Yeah. Another thing I had about the cinematography and the landscape and all that, I was thinking it was just, it's very fitting for this, kind of modern Western that's, not really, I think, well, we saw one donkey horse guy or whatever. It was bikes and trains and all this stuff. And so I just thought it was really interesting. And one thought I had was, I bet Norman Reedus was probably so excited to think, I can ride my bikes in this. And then he confirmed that in the episode Insider. He's like, it was so cool. I looked at, and he was like, he was so excited that he's going to ride a motorcycle out on these hills and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So that was one. Yeah, I thought that was really neat. But yeah, I agree with everything you said about it, like the cinematography of this episode. It was just, just a whole new world in this, in this universe. So it was very good.
Yeah. And I've brought up the cultural moments that we saw with the mothers, the grandmas, working together to get the medicine to make Roberto well again. So I really appreciated that.
Yeah.
Being a theme in this too.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's get to our rapid fire questions. So, Renee, I'm going to ask you a question. You're going to give me whatever answer comes to your mind. Okay? All right. What was the most spaghetti Western moment in this episode?
For me, it was Daryl and the guy, and that dude on the bike, like Daryl standing with his weapon ready, the other guy's coming at him. I just, there was not one word uttered. Well, I'm saying the guy yelling, and then it was just action. And that's all it was. But I thought that was just so cool. And I loved seeing how they, that guy, his weapon that he had almost blazing down on there. And even the one Daryl had, I forget what it's called. They talked about it on the episode, after the episode thing. But it comes out. It's like a katana, but it flicks out or whatever. Yeah. So I forget what he called it. It was
like a switchblade, but large.
Right. It was kind of a funny word. Like, I think it was spelled, I don't know how you pronounce it. It was like Fukyo, I believe. But I don't know how, exactly how you said it, because that could come off very badly if you said it wrong. But anyway, he said it. But so I just thought that scene was just, I was like, this is exactly what they've been talking about,
So many spaghetti Western moments. Like, we could name almost anything in here. But when I thought about it to myself, it was the little girl writing in the sand. Each bullet that they had 4 bullets, and they were going to make each one count. And I love the direction and how they orchestrated all that, how the town went up against every single motorcycle, and how they won that battle, or how how it came to be, and then her writing the 1 in the sand, the 2 in the sand, 3 and the 4. It was just very cool to watch. It was so cool to see how they can come up with these inventions, the way of not having actual weapons like guns or arrows or anything like that, but being able to use their own resources to get the upper hand. I just thought it was such a cool moment.
Another thing that it's not real, well, it's related, but it was just a goofy thought that I had. it reminded me of Three Amigos when they all tried, they
Yes.
kind of the same thing where they got to do all these things, to
Yes.
take El Guapo, So I thought of that for a moment too, because I thought that was hilarious.
One of my favorite
It's so
movies, old time comedy favorite 80s movies. I love that
Yeah.
movie. If you have not seen it, people, go watch The Three Amigos. So good.
hilarious.
Yes, everything, the burning bush, the little dance. Oh my God. Okay. Woo, that's for another podcast
Yes.
episode. All right. What scene gave you the biggest wow moment?
I watched the episode twice and I cried both times I watched this episode. I just could not stop tearing up when the little girl hands Daryl her water bottle at the end, and I'm going to cry right now talking about it. It was just so precious. And him taking it and putting it on his, we see it on the back of his backpack as he drives. I was just like, it was one of those things that I just, I just thought it was wonderful. I don't know if it's really a wow moment, but it was very emotional for me. I know that. And earlier when he took the sip out of her drink thing too, I thought that was very symbolic, or I don't know what you call it, but like, because, the gal told him, you can be in contact with him a little bit, and he was just showing that I'm not afraid of whatever's afflicting you. I'm not going to be afraid. So anyway, that was, all of that.
So I'm struggling with this one, the biggest wow moment, because I had the moment that you had just talked about at the best spaghetti western moment, because Daryl was fighting with that other guy coming at him on a motorcycle. And I love the way that Daryl kind of puts a stance, like he bounces on his legs and he's like, okay, I'm ready for you. And then the guy comes at him and he gets him. And I'm like, I love this moment with Daryl. But really, like almost any fighting moment with Daryl, I loved it like so much when he's on the top of the train and he's killing people. I mean, he's so good. He's so badass. He's such the hero. And I'm like, I love you, Daryl Dixon. You are just amazing. All I need to see you is, on this motorcycle and doing what you do. There could be a movie. This could be a movie, Daryl Dixon movie. It's just so much fun. It's so much fun to see this character. So that's my biggest wow moment. Okay. What was your favorite or funniest moment?
There are a couple of moments I thought were pretty funny, but the one that really got me was when Valentina says to Carol, I had it wrong. You must prefer local wine. Referring to Antonio. I was like, that gal, she just got the best one-liners, So I just thought that was hilarious.
That was good. And I will add to it as the funniest moment was when Carol tells her, she goes, oh, you're one horny old woman.
And she's an old lady. And she said, I've never been called a lady or something. They never. Yes, I have. Like, have you? I forget how she says that, but she says something like, but they've never said lady or something like, call me a lady.
Yes.
Yeah, that whole interaction. That was outstanding. Like we've seen Carol and her together twice, and that's both times it's just been memorable.
It definitely has been. I love it because she brings up and says these iconic sayings that are just perfect. And I love Carol's response to all of them because she has Carol thinking all the time, because that's where Carol starts to think, oh my gosh, is there a connection between Antonio and I? Because sometimes you don't realize things unless someone else tells you them.
Right.
That they see things. You would think, oh, she already knows. But no, sometimes people have to bring things up to you. And then you're like, oh, okay. Yeah. I didn't realize it was coming off like that, but it is. Oh my gosh. There were so many great moments in this. I do want to get to our Screen Nugget, which is related to that moment that you and I have been waiting for with the whole walkers carrying that train. And you and I had talked about it in our trailer talk, but for anyone who didn't tune into that one, which we would love it if you would, but it happened finally here. And so that Aragon scene was filmed in the ruins of Belchite, a ghost town in Aragon, Spain, and it was destroyed in a brutal 1937 Spanish Civil War battle. So, and it was never rebuilt because it was to serve basically, I think, as a memorial.
Yeah.
Wasn't that
Yeah.
what you had read also? So, and I love, like you had said, I didn't know that about the town where the people were at either. So I love that there's this history with all of where this was filmed. So I thought that was so good to see.
Yeah,
So.
there's so much history. And I was so glad to finally see the train scene, as everyone that has ever listened to one of these of us covering this season.
Yeah.
But it was so cool. It was very, very unique to have them use those walkers, to pull that train, and and then all the action that happened on it and everything. Yeah, I was thoroughly pleased with it.
Yeah. Yeah. It was great. It was such a good episode. All right, let's get back to our question of the day, which is, you're stranded in an apocalypse desert. What's the one thing you can't live without? Water, wheels, or a hot dog?
I'm going to say water because I have to figure out a way to make coffee. So I need water for that. I don't know how I'm doing this. It may be dirt coffee for all I know, but I got to figure something out. So water.
This is hard because you think it's obvious, but then you're like, but
Wait a minute.
okay, you could take the water, but then what if you're really, really far out and you could take the wheels and get to the water faster if you had the wheels, right? And the hot dog
bonus, yeah. I mean,
yeah, would just be a immediate, not long lasting, but immediate. What do you call it? Like
immediate satisfaction or whatever.
Yes,
Yeah.
basically, yes. So which one would it be? Which one would it be? I don't know that I could go without water, but I might feel a little bit scared if I didn't have wheels, because I'm like, I need to get somewhere so I can
get away from someone or
get away
to
from
something
here.
or yeah.
So it's a toss up for me.
Yeah.
I'll say wheels because you said water. I'm going with wheels. So, friends out there, what about you? What would be the one thing that you just couldn't live without? Water, wheels, or that hot dog? Let us know what you think. You can leave us a comment wherever you're watching us. You can get to any of our social media if you want to get to us that way by going to our show notes, and you can get to our website, screensinfocus.com, and get to all of our social media there. And you can even call us because we would love that. And when you do call us, you can answer this question or our rapid fire question or anything from this episode that you want to chime in on. We would love to hear it. That phone number is 669-223-8542. That number is in the show notes also. But please call us. We would love to hear what you have to say. All right, Renee, what are you looking forward to in the next episode? We don't have that many left.
We have 2 left, right? Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, we saw on the teaser for this episode that Paz comes. Yeah, she catches up with Daryl. So that makes it very interesting. We're headed to Barcelona. We don't know what to expect there. Yeah, I don't know specifically what I'm looking for. I'm looking for everything. I just, and being nervous that it's almost the end.
Yeah.
Because, I just don't know what's going to happen. There's a lot that still needs to be. I mean, I know we have another season, but they got to at least give us a little bit of a conclusion of something, So,
yeah,
I have a feeling it's definitely going to be cliffhangery because we've got the last season coming.
I agree with you because we know they're still going to be in the same area. So it's not like but maybe it will concentrate in Barcelona rather than where we've been. So that's interesting. But yes, I'm looking forward to seeing Paz work with Daryl in this. I'm also waiting for Carol to get back together with Daryl and work together. So I'm hoping that happens. Justina, is her and Roberto going to get together in this episode? Maybe not this next one, but I'm hoping by at least the conclusion of the season that they will, and that we'll get the answers that we want with Daryl's background and our childhood, and also with Fede and Antonio. But I think it's going to take those 2 episodes for us to get to all of those answers. So immediately, I don't know. I just want to see Carol and Daryl back together. So that would be my immediate. But I don't know if we're going to get that. Then people are going to uproar and like, telly keeping us away. I don't know. So much to contemplate. So we shall see. And of course, I'm looking forward to Rick's brother making an appearance of some sort. I don't know.
Come on, let's see Jeffrey.
Let's see Jeffrey. All right. All right. Anything else? Or are we good?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay, we're good. We're excited. We can't wait. All right. This is a wrap up of Daryl Dixon, episode 5. Come back for our breakdown on episode 6. We can't wait. We're excited for that. But don't leave us yet because we have TV and movie recommendations. Renee, what do you have for us?
So I watched Wayward and don't understand what happened at the end. I haven't had a chance to look up and read anything about it, but I was confused. Oh, I don't want to use, I'm not going to spoil anything, but I was very confused about what happened at the very end. And so it was interesting to me. It was engaging. I'm like, I had to know what's going on. It was one of those ones where I first started, I'm like, no, I don't know if I'm going to like this very well. And then it kept going. I'm like, okay, click, click, click. I kept watching because I had to know what was going to happen next. And so, yeah, it was very well done and everything. It's just, I think I understood, but then at the same time, I was like, wait a minute, or did I misunderstand it? So I just need to do some research so I can figure it out. But it's worth the watch for sure.
I only saw the first episode.
Okay.
So I liked the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
And that's as far as I've gotten. I'm going to go, but I am going to go back and watch. It wasn't like an episode where I'm like, oh, I don't know. No, I was like, hey, I want to know what's happening. So I'm eager to see it. It does have Toni Collette in it.
Yeah.
And, we don't want to give anything away, but it's about a community that seems suspicious where they take these young people and put them up. So that's all that I got from the first episode.
Yeah.
So
you are very pulled into it and want to know what's going on.
Yeah,
just like everybody else. So yeah. But no, yeah, definitely worth the watch. So that was really good. And I'm still working on The Son of a Critch. That's their last name. And it's just such a cute show. It's funny, it's goofy, I don't know. It reminds me of, if you ever watch Dairy Girls, and has maybe like kind of like the same kind of feel of like Napoleon Dynamite, where it's just kind of over the weird, kind of just different, like, I don't know. And there was another one I was comparing it to when I was telling someone, I can't remember, but it's just the fun. It's just this family. They're Irish and they just, all the stuff that they go through every day, but just in I don't know. It's got 3 seasons, which I thought it was just 1 season, so I was so excited when I saw there were 3. But I'm almost done with the 3rd season now. But it's just been so. Or no, wait, maybe I just started. I forget. I don't remember. But anyway, it's really cute and good and fun, and it's just a lighthearted comedy family, with all the family drama, but in a very comical way. So it's been fun.
What's it on?
Netflix.
And is it current? I mean, meaning it's 3 seasons, but is it?
Yeah, I guess I never looked it up to see if it had further seasons. Yeah, I guess I never did look into it because it just popped up on, you may like this, well, all right.
Yeah.
So that's my shows. And then movies, we are in the midst of Halloween watching. This is what we do every year. We usually start earlier, but life has gotten in the way and we have just recently started. But I did watch one for 2015 that we've never watched before called Tales of Halloween. It's a 10-part anthology. And there are some that are really good because I love Trick or Treat. I think that's a fun Christmas Halloween movie. And I like the 3 stories and I like how that's formatted. But this one, I would say it's not as good as Trick or Treat because I think Trick or Treat's really good. But this one, some of the stories are fun and good and goofy. You just kind of how the horror anthologies kind of are. And then there's some that are like, this one's really dumb. But it was a good watch. Again, it was fun to watch it. And I always like goofy horror and campy horror and stuff like that. So that one, it was fun to watch and that we had never seen it. And then we watched House of Wax from 2005. And it's got like all the 2005 actors and people in it that, Paris Hilton's even in it, but it's a good one. That one I watched several times. And then we're working through The Conjuring right now. We're working through that series. So, they're all, I love them. They're so fun. But yeah, so that's what we've watched this past week.
That's a lot. You've done a lot in the last week. So I applaud you.
Well, I'm watching House of Guinness still too.
Yeah.
So
it's hard to get through everything. So that's pretty good, having those movies and having a couple of shows there. So that's pretty good. And for anyone, we do have Screams in Focus from last year, but all of those are great TV and movies that we talk about. It's a 4 different podcast episodes that we did in the month of October. So go check that out at screensinfocus.com because we talk about and give a lot of recommendations of what's out there. So please check that out. So for me, Love is Blind, season 9. I get hooked every single time. I don't know why. It sucks me in and I cannot go to bed. I have to keep watching. I think I watched everything in 2 nights up until as much as it would give me, because they give you so many, like 8 episodes, and then they make you wait a little bit to watch some more. So just people in pods dating without seeing each other and proposing. So that's what that's about. I mentioned Wayward. I watched 1 episode on Netflix, so I'm intrigued by that. I also started Monster, the Ed Gein story on Netflix with Charlie Hunnam. Now, I will say it's made very well. It's really good, but I am not sure how I'm going to feel about going forward with it, because Charlie Hunnam is like, Charlie Hunnam, right? He's Charlie Hunnam, Sons of Anarchy and so much more. And it's hard to see him as this character. I'm like, no. And he's really warped. Laurie Metcalf plays his mother, really warped. I learned a lot just by that first episode. I didn't realize that was an inspiration to Psycho. Alfred Hitchcock was Psycho, which made total sense after watching it. But I will say it was hard for me to watch it, because I always have a hard time when they're true stories, because I know that somebody went through this stuff and that there's somebody so wrong with people. But I don't know, maybe I'll go back, but it's a hard watch, but it is made so well. Like, you can tell it's really done very well. So
yeah, your second person today just told me they're not sure they can finish it.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So
it's just emotional though. It's how you emotionally react to something. It's not like they've showed something. It's what they allude to. And that's probably to the credit of the direction and what they're doing, right? Because it makes it feel so real. And one, like I said, Charlie Hunnam is part of it. Seeing him in this weirdo killer phase. You do see him without clothing, though. So if you want to tune in for that, you can. He has a little bit of coverage, but not, it's just his hand. But so, go in with your own thoughts on that, right? I hate to make someone else not watch it. I'm just letting you know why I'm not. I'm not saying it showed anything graphically that you can't see. It's just an emotional thing, too. So, but I do have something I really want to recommend, and that is The Lost Bus. It's on Apple TV+. Matthew McConaughey is in it, and America Ferrera. It is so much better than I even thought it was going to be. I had heard buzz about it. I didn't know, the fires in California. Okay, it's really close to me. We experienced this was in 2018. What happened? PG&E is our Pacific Gas and Electric, and they ended up being at fault here, but it just delves into that, but not just that. It takes that real circumstance and you put real people in it. And so it's based on true people that were very heroic. But Matthew McConaughey, as this driver, is kind of down and out. And his relationship with his son is on not very good terms. And so he has to make a choice of how he's going to lead his life. And so it's very interesting to watch. I feel like even though it's very scary, they have a lot of kids involved. They're facing this fire. It's just done so well. So I highly recommend anyone to watch this. I don't want to give any more away. So that's all I'm going to say about that. All right. We're good on all the TV and movie recommendations? Okay, we're good. All right, friends out there, that's what we have for you. Renee, I love that you're here with me. Thank you again for being with me today.
Of course. Thanks for having me. I love it. It was a good episode to dig into.
It was. Can't wait for the next one. All right. Friends out there, we are so grateful that you joined us. We hope that we said something today that gave you some insight, something to think about, some TV and movie recommendations. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend. We would love that. And remember to follow Screens in Focus at screensinfocus.com. Subscribe to us there. And keep watching, keep exploring, and keep those screens in focus. We will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.